Hello and welcome back to Day 5, Week 1 of the LPL. Fish, Clement, you guys did well, but we're now going to actually take over some real analysis and get you into game number 2. Now, Raz, I've got some good news and I have some bad news.
Okay.
Which one do you want first?
The good news.
Okay, the good news is Imp is in, so we've got it. Gentle has been subbed out. We had some questions. You've got 2 world-class ADCs, Mystic and Imp, and you're not going to start them in your inaugural game in your home stadium. That's been thrown out the window. TOP lead the series 1-0, but Imp is back in. Are you ready for the bad news?
You tell them.
The bad news is they're playing Gnar top.
There we have it.
On 8-11.
You had to do it to us.
Okay, so you can see the draft phase on the bottom of your screen. Just to make this easier for you guys, it's Gnar, Nocturne, Lulu, Kaisa, and Rakan from Team WE
Good
on
handwriting.
8-11. I know, it's nice, isn't it? Nice little book, too. Thanks, Ryda. And then you got Kennen, Graves, Aurelian Sol, Tristana, and Alistar.
Yep.
Good news, it's Marn's Kennen.
There we go. And you could tell that it was a counter to it. So the Kennen pick coming in second part of that phase. It's a good lane in towards the Gnar. So the Gnar was blind. The only thing that I'm looking towards is I love the fact that TOP got themselves the Graves and Aurelian Sol. So they're heavily prioritizing the mid lane matchup so they can end up moving that towards the bottom lane now with they have the Alistar. So TOP coming out of game 1 with a phenomenal victory just based off of what I thought was a very easy executable draft. This time around it feels like once again putting the ball in XX court.
It feels like they have the read that it's about counteracting Condi, that they're putting everything to try to stall him out by prioritizing that mid jungle. Now that said, you have heard enough from us. We're going to send it over to the casters for game number 2, TOP versus WE.
Thanks for us, Grim, but you can see this, right, Clement?
Yep.
You can see this. I mean, Raz sent me another note during the break. He was like, we will tell them good news with capital E, capital S, small letter N and W, and then you guys rocks, like R-O-X, rocks, please analyze game for us. Thank you very much. Okay. So we're meant to analyze the game, but we're going to get into that match as soon as we possibly can. Game number 2, TOP taking on Team WE.
I want to say they didn't analyze anything. They just read the bad picks out.
Aw, don't give it that much fun. I mean, it is Raz. Oh, no, Raz. Oh, okay, I'm scared. I'm sorry,
He's
Raz.
actually coming over.
Raz is a beautiful man and a great shoutcaster. He is not standing next to me, threatening me or anything. But we're getting onto the map. TOP taking TWE. You can hear the drums coming. With the crowd right behind them. TOP, their fans have flocked down to the stadium as well. It is WE's home ground, but TOP's fans still strong. Still there to try and support their squad.
Coming to welcome the newest member of the WE team in Imp. His debut on the new team. Been playing for LGD for a long time, but look at this collapse.
Could be a big 5-5 to start this match. They're going to turn the corner. Surprise! Look, it's a little hamster who throws out lightning shurikens, run away. And nothing happens.
Apparently Pikachu is really frightening, so just walk away from that, go back to their own jungle, but they don't know TOP's still here.
Oh, they have a ward though, so able to spot out Team WE. This is a game of hide and seek. Don't tell anyone. If that was Bjergsen's Aurelian Sol, they'd be able to see the stars. Not going to be the case.
Actually, Bjergsen's Aurelian Sol is invisible in the rock. That's what happens. Yeah.
Oh no. Aurelian Sol and his many bugs in competitive play, thankfully, most of them I know have been resolved. But we get into the match. Team WE as well as TOP mirror each other in terms of invades, but neither team decides to take a fight. Moving into game number 2, XX picks up his own blue buff, but Condi on Nocturne for this match, he's going to be able to pick up red buff. And I like to talk about the history of the teams in the LPL because teams like Jindong, Suning, before moving into Shanghai, a lot of us didn't know that these are big e-commerce companies. For Team WE, historical organization. I mean, if you make an account on the LPL service, you get a Team WE icon. That's how old this team is. There's a ton of Team WE fans, but for TOP, big sports brand in Shanghai.
Yeah, they were the first team to really dominate on the world stage. Everybody remembers IPL 5 where they took the championship away. TOP, relative newcomers. If you want to buy Nikes or Adidas in China, you're going to buy them from TOP.
It used to be Dan Gaming, used to be the 20-minute Baron team, but now a big sports company selling a lot of sporting goods. And they've looked good so far in this series. Game number 1 was great to watch from them. We got to take a look at Condi's rune page. We've seen a lot of Nocturnes popping up internationally as well as in the LPL. Lethal Tempo is Condi's keystone rune of choice for this match.
Definitely the common choice for Nocturnes this patch. And we're seeing the Aurelian Sol come down already.
Again. This is the second time we've seen Aurelion Sol being used in this manner. Rotating into the bottom lane with your jungler to try and get a dive nice and early. Imp and Ben read the play, they disengage, but...
They're losing the cannon. Oh, does get it though.
Does he lose the cannon?
No, he doesn't. I'm sorry, Imp. I'm sorry, Imp.
Yes,
You actually got it.
Better apologize to that man. It's his first match back in the summer split for a brand new team ever since he's moved over to the LPL. Always played for LGD, now on Team WE.
But great play from TOP. I really like this early game. Like Frost said, once again, they're focusing on Condi. They're not letting him have the pathing that he wants to start the game. They're going into his jungle, taking it away, and good usage to split the map up and rotate with the Aurelion Sol to pressure the AD carry, which is the traditional carry point for WE.
But, although we saw that play in the bottom lane, we saw the rotations coming up from TOP, all they do is deny a couple of minions. The last time we saw Aurelion Sol rotate like that, it was a kill trade onto a Vladimir who had already died in the bottom lane once. They don't get too much for TOP's troubles, but they don't lose too much either. So good play nonetheless.
Bad position.
Now a gank going into Sia in the mid lane. Already stunned by Gung, forced to flash over this wall. XX jumps over as well. So does Aurelion Sol, the last star. Collapse Thanos, clips his fingers, gets a kill for himself.
Condi might need to flash.
Uses
So
the
that's
spell
W.
shield, has to flash away from the galaxy being thrown at him by that superstar dragon. Does get out alive, but good aggressive play coming out from TOP.
Yeah, that was great wave control from Goon after the roam, holding with the wave there and waiting for XX to come out of the counter jungle to collapse onto Xie. Now, W are actually faltering all over the map at this point.
But how so? WE, I mean, we saw them. They had to retreat bottom lane. We saw the invade coming in against, not invade, the gank going up against Sia. How are they faltering? Because
it's mainly just the wave control here. Xie already took the first Q into the face, so he did have to flash away early. Really bad position for him. And it's just about the way that Chocho and Cat have had the wave control into the bot lane. Alistar really good into the recon early on, and also Aurelion Sol, known for his wave clear into the mid lane. So they're able to decide when they want to push, they're able to decide when they want to hold the waves for themselves, and they're able to sync it up with XX. This is a level of coordination that we haven't really seen from TOP, and they're benefiting from it.
they certainly are. They're able to get priority in the bottom lane, as you mentioned. They got a kill in the mid lane, even forced Condi to flash away from the gank that came out from XX and Gung, a byproduct of that gank almost. Scuttle Crab, number 3 is going to go to XX, the first random spawn of the crabs, and he's still moving into the mid lane. Sia actually trying to chase down Gung. Condi's going to try and join this fight, but they're happy to take this. W want to go. TOP will too.
They're willing to chase them away really far. Gong already has his Voice of Light queued up, but Condi, smart enough, not going to stay for it.
So again, they just lose a couple of minions in the mid lane. Sia gets minions denied by the turret. TOP is doing a very good job keeping Sia at level 5. You already said Voice of Light available for Gung, which means he has hit level 6. And XX is not done. He's going to sweep the bottom side of the jungle, make sure there are no wards, and potentially try and pick up blue buff when it respawns.
Just look at how easy it is to make a 4v2 play into the bot lane. We actually see Aurelion Sol going over already. Good on W to back off, but they're going to lose a lot for this.
Stuck between their first and second turrets, Tristana was picked up by Cholchol. Going to get good damage onto these turrets. And WE, even though they're not dying, even though Imp and Ben are doing the right thing by backing away, they're still taking so much damage on these turrets. They're still 15, 16 CS behind Cholchol. TOP have had a great strategy to start Game 1 and Game 2.
And if you look at the composition from WE, their bottom side does not have a fighting chance. None of these champions are good pre-6, so they're giving up so much to TOP, who have the crown control for the lockdown, who have the ability to snag kills. And this is the big question. It's 8.11. Can you actually run with this type of composition where you sit back in the early game and do nothing?
And I mean, there's so many things we really want to talk about. Tristana being picked up as an AD carry. Marin's playing AP cannon against a Nara in the top lane. Just so many things. But TOP have been so proactive. We've been tracking all their movements.
Yep,
Another blue buff. Another blue buff gets taken away. Gung's going to be able to take it from Team WE's jungle. He's still a level ahead of his opposition in Sia. Now we finally get to check the top side of map.
Yep.
Frostgren said the bad news was Nara's being played by Team WE. Didn't tell us that Cannon's being picked up by Mara on the top side of the map as well. And that's a pick we haven't seen since the meta has shifted so drastically after MSI.
So what we've seen that the Kennen change is that he is much more of an AD Kennen currently in the build, but of course you can still play him AP. His AP ratios weren't really changed, but his AD ratios were buffed. However, either way though, Kennen is considered a good lane counter into the Gnar. You do have the range advantage early, and it is easier to stun him in terms of like a range versus range matchup, opposed to most of the melee matchups that Gnar is able to kind of punish you on. So once again, I think TOP is running a 4-1 type of composition where they want Marin to be the main split pusher, and they have wave clear everywhere else to deny WE the five-man punish for the 4-man. However, on WE's side though, they kind of retooled their previous composition. Yes, they still want to protect Kai'Sa, but they are more proactive. They have the Rakan, and they have the Nocturne to go all in. They're not going to sit on their high ground like the previous game with no chance of retaliation.
And it seems like that's what the Gnar is for as well, a champion that can go all in when he's about to go Mega, try and get into the back lines, try and knock everyone into a wall and get them stunned up so WE can follow up with the damage. And as a Lulu to support him if Imp doesn't need the help in the bottom lane. And if you remember a few patches before MSI, AP Kennen did get buffed quite significantly, and there was a lot of talks of if AP Kennen's going to come back. We saw it here and there in competitive play, but never really became a staple top lane pick. And it is looking to be an AP Kennen picked up by Marin so far, but we'll keep track of that later. Against the Gnar pick that we just haven't seen so far. It's fallen off. We'll have to see what 957 can do with the champion. Imp jumping in for game number 2. Gentle played okay. Yeah, I have to see if Imp's going to be that big of an improvement over Gentle that it makes a difference for WE in this match.
Definitely a questionable decision to sub Imp in after game 1. Probably wanted to get a little bit of experience onto Gentle, that would be my guess. But this is WE's chance to get back into the game. They have hit their level 6. They do have the Paranoia online, and they finally have some CC on the bottom side of the map with Rakan.
But they haven't made that play just yet. And TOP, once again, they set up for a nice Baron. Nice Dragon, I should say. Ocean Dragon gets taken down. Marin goes to the Fog of War, threatens with the teleport as a level 8 Kennen, and just simply cancels it once Team W decide to disengage. So very patient, methodical play coming out of TOP so far. 957 will have a teleport advantage for a couple of minutes. So we'll have to see if Team WE can take advantage of that Summoner spell that they currently have.
The first Paranoia coming out from Nocturne is always incredibly important. This is the best chance for you to snowball. Ooh, good steal then. Also proccing the lethal temple, sort of circling around Condi. Nocturne is an assassin champion. He does need to deal damage, so if he doesn't snowball the early game, then he does tend to fall behind. So W do need to make use of their early game assets as well if they want to survive for the late game for Imp.
Very scary when it's synced up with a champion like Kai'Sa as well. Both of them can try and dash onto a single target with the Paranoia. Difficult to see where the two champions are going as well. Difficult to assist your allies and make communication all that more important for TOP. WE now going to try and press a fight on the bottom side of the map. Nocturne is close by. Already 3 members of Team WE are here pushing for this turret. Aurelion Sol is close as well, but Cat gets a good engage. Good damage goes down to Ben, goes down to about half health, knocked back by Cho as well. This entire time, Exo says, you know what, I'll farm the mid lane. Marin stops side of the map, he can cancel 957's teleport if he tries to do it drastically.
I actually think WE hesitated there. They did have the chance to go in. Remember, Condi's Paranoia can't stop the teleports from the other parts of the map. Now, it is kind of a fingers thing. You do have a window that you can kind of teleport in the bot lane, but it's very difficult to do. And with that opening ended, and with Aurelion Sol into the bot lane, they just kind of give up, back off, and lose a lot of farm.
I mean, TOP didn't even have a teleport to use it, even if they wanted to get into that bottom lane, so WE would have been a good time for them to strike, but not going to work out. Meanwhile, Exo says, you know what, Condi, you might be back. You might be the son of Baron. This is my jungle at the moment. I'm the one playing Graves, considered one of the stronger junglers in the current meta. You get away. Give me my Crux.
I really like Aurelion Sol's return into the meta. He is that type of champion that can sit in a 5v5 brawl. Most of his damage is AoE focused, and he also has the wave clear in the early game to contest for the scuttles. A really good champion in the meta.
Well, we get to take a look at Aurelion Sol here as forces CS use his ultimate. Meanwhile, Ben went for an engage on the bottom side of the map. Cho didn't have to use his flash. Seems like Cat, as well as the rocket jump, were enough to disengage from Rakan trying to jump in atop of TOP. WE are going to continue to shepherd minions into the bottom lane outer turret. Chip away at this. TOP already have taken down their bottom lane outer turret against WE incredibly low. A single good push from TOP should be enough to break the first structure.
I'm actually fairly surprised we're seeing a more traditional Tristana build coming out from Chocho right here. We've seen Tristana being played in Demacia Cup, but it was the Guinsoo Tristana. Tristana does have quite a lot of good AP ratios, and if you want to contest on that first item spike, you have to go for Guinsoo's instead of the crit build. Actually, never mind, he's going for the Storm Razors build.
Yep.
Very rarely seen, does give you a strong power spike early on, but it actually has anti-synergy with your crit and with your attack speed. So it's not a common item on Tristana at all.
No, it's not, because it makes it so that the first auto attack after a while is a short internal cooldown. Is a guaranteed crit of 160%. A normal crit is about 200%. Sorry, is 200%, not about. Interesting build, because we saw Tristana being played in the green room earlier in the OPL as a jungle champion, went for Blood Razor, then Guinsoo's. Spoiler alert, didn't work out, but let's see what Chocho can do here. Gets that crit onto Imp. Good damage, knocks away, flashes for Chocho, jumps in as well. Take that, Imp. Welcome to your new team. Welcome to your home arena. But welcome to the Death Chamber as well.
So that's why he went for the Storm Razors. Tristana, if you fully stack onto the E, then you can get a second jump. But in the mid lane,
Darkness and Paranoia hits the Rift as Aurelion Sol is forced to use his own stopwatch to try and disengage. Successfully so, as Ben's even trying to come into the mid lane too. Exodus was there to protect his big scary dragon. WE aren't able to find a pick for themselves.
So again, WE's attack thwarted by TOP right there. Aurelion So with the stopwatch, able to take away everything that Condi's been trying to do. This man has been harassed completely. He doesn't get the path he wanted. He didn't find any assists or any kills on an assassin that does need to snowball. And TOP are just, they're operating on all cylinders.
And we just took a quick look as of 2 days ago. We haven't checked in with the matches from the last 2 days. No competitive Tristana plays during this meta, because we've seen like Drape, we've seen Ezreal, there's Xayah being played quite frequently as well. Lucian is a standout champion in that bottom lane as well. Jhin maybe even from time to time, but Tristana was a champion that we said this is too crit reliant, probably not going to show up, and is going for a full crit build. It seems Storm Razors first, now going for a Zeal.
If you build Storm Razors, you basically do have to snowball. It's not a build item that synergizes very well later into the game, especially with an auto attack heavy AD carry like the Tristana right there. So seeing him build that and seeing his playstyle made me understand something. He was going for the instant cheese. Storm Razor as an item is really weird because it has 100% gold efficiency once you buy it. Most AD carry items start out at 90% efficiency, and then you need to build crit items to fill in the gaps. But Storm Razor provides you the largest power spike out of any available first item.
And late into Spring Split, we saw Tristana being played a little bit more by teams to try and get the level 2 or even level 1 kill strategy in the bottom lane, because Rocket Jump had a little bit more base damage. And the range of Tristana was nerfed very early to try and compensate for the extra damage given. Oh, sorry, the opposite way. The damage was meant to compensate for the range nerf that went over to Tristana. Storm Razor makes sense. We saw that kill onto Imp, expertly played by Chocho, but haven't seen too much since. Very rarely have we seen AD carries being played against one another towards the latter half of Week 1. Early in Week 1, it was all about the AD carries, but it's all about the ones we talked about. Kaiser also going to be building towards AP, as we've seen throughout the...
Observer's not checking the top lane at all.
Yeah, Condi's actually just dead. Chocho jumps in Super Mario, but he picks up one for himself, and as we're here talking about AD carries, it's the jungle that dies. 947 now in trouble. Cat goes forward, Voice of Light comes through, and the stars are going to be enough. Goon gets another one for TOP. They are running over Team WE.
And WE don't even get the kill in the top lane. They had the collapse with Ben and Kaisa onto Marin. That did not work either. And it's just terrifying watching this happen to them. Just a small point on why Chocho was able to catch up onto Condi. Once you proc the Storm Razor, it does give you a small movement speed buff. It's very efficient as a first item. So with that and the cheese that Chocho's bringing on, he is able to secure the kills.
Yep, an extra 10% movement speed, I believe, is what it gives you, and it's a guaranteed crit on that first attack. We've talked about AD carry so much. Let's go into this, the majority of this game, because Rift Tail is being used in mid lane now. TOP break another structure. That's the third one. Inner turret take down the bottom lane. Outer turret take it down the bottom lane. Now outer turret in the mid lane. What the heck is going on?
I think WE just gave up on the pre-5 in terms of their compositions. They really could not contest early, and it's coming back to bite them. Let's watch Chocho with the execution again.
We saw this part. What happened before?
Able to jump twice, get back out with the kill reset. And why is 957 even here? I guess they were looking to try and contest the Dragon, but they didn't account for Aurelion Sol cutting them entirely off, and they certainly didn't account for Chocho being that aggressive.
We didn't expect it. Apparently our observers didn't expect it as well. We're watching Dragon in a mighty old battle against champions, but meanwhile, Condi was being picked off on the side of the map.
That's sad when an 80 carry can jump onto a Nocturne.
957 was caught meandering between the lanes. It didn't work out so well for Team WE, and now TOP. 5,000 gold up, and Marin wants to go for a fight. 957 locked down. XX joins as well. Blinds the poor little Nah. Can't even go Mega. XX gets that kill, and it's now 5 for TOP.
And W are still not on the board. They haven't been able to go past River. They haven't been able to even find a single kill.
Oh no. Not like this! Oh, he's going to have nightmares after this game because so many members of WE just pile on top of Chocho. 3 of them, to be exact. They take him down quite quickly.
Finally getting themselves on the board. They were willing to trade their mid lane tower just to get a couple of kills, just to get the ball rolling. That's a sign of desperation, in fact.
But what are they going to lose from this? Because that's 3 members of WE top side of the map. Marin's pushing in the bottom lane, and 3 members of TOP already on this mid lane in a turret.
They are fairly far behind in tempo. They actually do need Kaisa to take that tower.
Cat wants this. Poor Seer forced to flash away. Even teleport's being used towards their inhibitor. But Ben going for a big flank. Tries to get as much crowd control down as possible. But not going to be enough to get the rest of WE here. 957 teleporting into the back lines. Throws out a boomerang. Catches it, but only gets a flash.
Yep, that was simply to match Marin's teleport, which was happening as well. Of course, no Rage Bar means no Mega Gnar, no CC. So TOP able to back out quite favorably in that trade. And if you look at the top lane, Kaisa didn't even take that tower. So once again, W are locked onto their side of the map. They have no single lane that really has a chance of pushing back to the enemy river.
The Lightning Hamster's going to get good damage on the top lane in a turret as well. Condi's forced up there to defend it. But one final push should be enough for TOP to take that. Marin's going to stay up here for now. Teleport not available for Kennen. Aurelion Sol trying to rotate. Chocho as well as Cat are going to head up there as well, keeping track of Chocho's build. Going for the Hurricane second with the Storm Razor.
The current composition from TOP has much more wave clear than WE, and they also have a lot of burst potential if WE does stick to their tower. If it's a 3v5, I think TOP will go all in instantly. It's a very difficult situation from WE, and they're actually backing off.
I'm going to try, but Goong misses with his Galaxy, and Sia is able to get out of that fight. Top lane in a turret gets taken down. TOP have a 7,000 gold lead over Team WE, 20 minutes into the match. WE are bleeding. I'm going to have to find a way to stop it, but we haven't seen too much proactivity from Team WE except for the top lane 3-man gank on the Chocho, which even then, they lost so much damage in their mid lane inner turret for that.
TOP are playing this match incredibly well. They're splitting up all of their members, and they're only collapsing onto objectives when they have those lanes pushed. So W has not been able to find a snowballing opportunity where they can catch multiple members and then take objectives. It's just they've never been presented that opportunity. This is the level of the new TOP.
And I feel like Marin's made such a big difference as well. His Aatrox game was good to watch. Wasn't exceptional, but it was good. And now watching him with Kennen. I mean, no big team fights, hasn't been a big part of the picks, but he was bottom lane 2 minutes ago, then he was top side taking a turret, now he's back bottom again while the rest of TOP work together to push for other structures. Mid lane inner is going to fall. Marin's still split pushing, cheating through the jungle now to join the rest of his team, and TOP take another objective. Slowly racking up a gold lead, slowly getting further and further ahead of Team WE, and it's quite difficult to kind of see where Team WE tried to stop the bleeding or even fight back against TOP at this point.
W do need more time on their main carry. Kaisa is still a late game monster, but what I'm really worried about is if TOP stick as a 5-man, it's almost impossible for them to, for W to win a team fight. Even if Kaisa goes into invisibility, the Kennen can just ult anyway, and he's probably going to land those stuns. They have a lot of ways to actually block out the damage coming out from him.
I mean, even if it's not going to be Marin, Cat is on Alistar. protect Chocho quite easily as well. That's a support pick that has been very popular in the current meta. We see a few teams prioritizing Alistar over anything through Champion Select. Seems like TOP are fond of the champion as well. And Baron buff could be the next big objective. Scuttlecrab was taken by Team WE, giving them guaranteed vision over the choke point for a while, but that's going to expire soon. TOP have done a good job of sweeping the rest of the vision. 3 control wards on the top side of the map. 2 of them close to the Baron pit, with a couple of wards deep into the red side of the jungle to spot out WE's movements. Mara's still bottom side of the map. Chocho is going to try and start on this Ocean Dragon. Teleport is available for Tristana.
I really like what Chocho has done here. He's actually bought a stopwatch just to prevent the all-in from Condi. Now, we do see carries try to do that before they are going into a big Baron fight. And of course, it does build later into your GA. Also, something else to note about his build is that this is the new trio of crit build items. You go into your Storm Razors, you get your 60% max cap onto your crit, 60% crit onto your Storm Razors, and that does build your crit, your guaranteed crit, into a 200% normal crit. So there's no downside of getting your crit up to 60%. Anything over is overkill, but 60% is what you aim for, and you can get that with one Zeal item and of course the new IE that doubles your crit.
Well, he's going for a pickaxe first here, so let's see what Chocho's third item is going to be. But for now, it's a sneaky little Baron attack coming out from TOP. This is what they were known for when they were Dan Gaming. Trying to sneak Barons as close to the 20-minute mark as possible, and with this new patch, it gets taken down pretty quickly. Condi wants to jump in, but stopped! Cat says, you're not getting into the pit today! Condi gets angry, tries to jump back on top of Alistar, gives him a little bit of a nightmare, but Cat, he's resilient. Doesn't care, wakes up from the nightmare, is perfectly fine, he's happy. His team's got Baron and TOP further ahead than they were before.
He didn't even flash. That's how confident he was. And W had to back off. They're going for the pick now.
Meanwhile, Marin's been caught out. The Lightning Hamster in a bit of trouble, gets exhausted, but he's got away. Nice and easy. WE catch out the top laner from TOP, but they can't kill him.
You can see the fear in Imp. He wasn't willing to chase on with Killer Instincts because he knew he was going to get stunned, and he was afraid that there would be someone next to the cannon. If he went all in, I actually think they had a good chance of at least getting the flash from Marin, but the fear has been instilled in WE.
It certainly has. I mean, after game 1, WE had some points where they tried to fight back against TOP. They got a free Baron late into the match, which seems to be how they're going to come back into it. But TOP, even though they lost their Baron, they're still able to capitalize and win the game. Now, against a team that's 9,000 gold ahead, 25 minutes into the match, Baron buff, Thomas the Tank Engine right behind them as well, pushing with this team, 4 members strong. Marin's in the bottom lane, has teleport for himself. TOP should be very comfortable. WE have to find some unorthodox way to pick a fight here.
They don't have the cooldowns to do it. If you look at Ben, the quickness is still off. That's their main engage tool. Paranoia is not there either. So TOP are actually incredibly safe walking up to the tower.
They did chunk it down to about 1/3 of its hits points, so it's not going to regenerate too much anymore. That top lane turret will be taken down later. There's still 2 minutes of Baron buff for TOP to work with. They're playing this nice and patient. Marin did a good job pushing in the bottom lane wave. 957 forced to deal with that in Mega Gnar at the moment. But there's the engage, trying to collapse onto Marin. Protopel gets him away from the tether of the fear. Condi can't take him down. TOP respond by pushing into the top lane.
Wide open.
Top lane turret taken down. Inhibitor gonna be taken down next. Ben wants to try and see if he can force a fight, but WE can't find a way to pick off TOP. The engage mid lane doesn't work out, and TOP are now pushing for more structures here, Comment.
We have to take close attention to 957 and his Rage Bar. He's the only engage option that W really have to turn the entire situation. Fortunately enough for them, TOP do decide to kind of back off and have a moment to regroup.
Potentially a read. They saw 957 being aggressive with his Rage Bar close to going Mega. Respecting that WE still have ways to get into this match, but Chocho walks up and says, this turret is mine. TOP take it down. Still a minute of Baron buff to work with. It could be the second inhibitor, leaving only 1 remaining access point to the base that TOP have left to take down. Bottom lane inhibitor turret and inhibitor is all that stands between an open base and TOP's victory. W have to find a way to hold on because it's not looking good for them at the moment.
Definitely not. W are fabled for their 5v5 ability, and with only 1 inhibitor standing, it will force TOP to go into that lane and try to finish it up. That might give an opportunity for W, but it's very unlikely that they're going to turn it at that point. They're already 11,000 gold behind.
And we got a quick look of the man with the Twitch skin. Imp, not looking good so far. He was taken down in a 1-on-1 by Cholcho. Hasn't impressed in this match so far, but quite frankly, difficult for him to do so. This has been a game that TOP have set up to knock down nice and easy, nice and early. And WE, we haven't seen them try and have any sort of priority so far to go aggressive against TOP.
Our criticism of WE last split is that they lacked a pre-20-minute game plan, and this is still happening in 8.11, where it's even more important. Full rage bar for 957, but doesn't see the opportunity. TOP back out immediately.
They do back out. TOP are going to still continue pushing though. Even without minions, they just walk up. Cat's going to tank this, and WE are looking at the possibility of losing their third inhibitor. They have to go soon if they want to deny double super minions from crashing into their base, but they decide to defend the Nexus turrets instead. At TOP, 2 turrets away from victory here.
They do have the range advantage. They're going to force W to come to them. Look at Chocho with his damage on those towers.
Forget the turrets coming. They're all gone. It's the Nexus that's left standing. And WE, their first match in their new stadium, could be a defeat. Chocho jumped up by Condi, but Marin's keeping everyone locked down in the back lines. Pikachu, I choose you. Locks them all down. Stuns galore. He will finally fall, but it's Condi that goes with him. Ben's going to be next. The big dragon jumps in. Knife is over. Good. No, the back lines. Is that going to be enough? It pops off. He gets
It's
one,
so
but
alive.
Chocho says no. Nexus falls. TOP take down Team WE.
And in a surprising upset, WE starting their debut in their own home arena in Xi'an, fall to TOP, the last place team in their own conference last split.
My goodness.
Like, TOP had one series win in the past. That was against Vici. And now they've already surpassed their spring split goals against WE of all the teams.
I mean, earlier in the week, sure, TOP didn't look that good. Mara wasn't playing, they looked like they were the old selves, but this match, they looked completely different. Set up against Team WE. Executed their strategy perfectly and showed that they were resilient, showed that they were able to take risks that we previously have seen TOP not do.
The most improved player for me has to be XX. This was the guy that seemed out of sync with his own teammates in spring, but in this game, he outperformed Condi. He was able to take the cues from his teammates, have that synchronized play where they were holding waves, getting ganks, taking away buffs from Condi, and they just ran the early game. WE, man, you have to figure out a strategy. You have to have a game plan for two things in this meta. One of them is for the Scuttle contest, you have to have strong champions pre-6, and the second part is you have to be able to fight a strong 5v5 meat grinding type of composition in the late game. And I kind of feel like W have failed on both cases in this series. They do have to take a very hard look at themselves and their understanding of the meta.
Seems like they're still trying to play towards their previous playstyles. Condi and Ben, we didn't see them much in spring split. There were questions of what happened to WE after their semi-final finish at Worlds last year. I mean, RNG, they've gone to win everything since their semi-final finish. They picked up the MSI title, but WE just seem like they're falling further and further. Bringing back Imp, we know that Mystic's in the lineup as well, but they played gentle in the first match. 947, Condi, Ben, they're all there. Sia still there, but no drastic changes in their opening match of not only their stadium, but the summer split of the LPL for them.
So WE, even though they had a lot of rosters, things moving around, they still are the same W that we've seen from before. They basically just don't have an early game plan, and you can't do that because there's more resources on the map right now. Towers are easier to take, and the Scuttle experience will snowball so hard that your junglers, like Condi, your star, is not going to be able to get a foothold into the game unless your lanes help him. And I just think they really haven't waken up at this point. They do need a better coaching mentality, a better coaching system to instill what's important in this meta for them.
They definitely have to change something because their first match in the summer split of the LPL didn't look too good for them. I've got a note from Raz once again. He says, please send it back to the desk. I'm going to give you all a dance. All right, Raz, take it away.
Twerk it.
Those are lies! I'm not sending him a damn thing. Don't let him believe. You know what? Public opinion, man. He's just shifted the populace's belief. I don't even know what I can do anymore.
I don't know. Your dance moves are certainly better than the moves that Team WE just showcased in their own arena. But I will say this. WE didn't show up, but that arena is fly. Like, that has got to be the best away arena that we have. That said, celebrations to TOP because they certainly deserve it. If you haven't watched the LPL, this was a last place team that just took down one of our playoff teams.
And we had our eyes on TOP last split just because when they
Did
brought
we?
in Marin, all right, they brought him in pretty damn late, all right?
Okay.
And they were
I'll give you
shifting
that.
in a lot of members. They were like, okay, where would they place if they did start at ground zero? Just zero. They've maybe not anywhere near where
Raz,
WE was last
TOP
split.
were a barrel, and you kicked out the bottom of it, you dug around in the mud, and that's where you found TOP. This is massive.
It is a massive barrel.
You're just making this sound like, we're rebuilding, we're reforging. No, there were no expectations for TOP.
Yes, but like that's the thing where I was like, where are we looking for it when it comes to TOP? We were expecting something, not this. That's the issue. We were expecting something like better play overall and for Summer Split to be overall competitive. And it is competitive, but I didn't expect for WE to be falling down like this.
What kills me, though, is that we should have seen this coming. You know what I mean? Because when you think about it, you're like, okay, it's 8-11. It's an early game meta.
Yes.
You know who probably is going to suck in an early game meta? The team that's known for the Elder Dragon team,
Yeah.
which we're going to get to that in a second because the kid gloves are coming off for Team WE. I'm about to pull off the belt.
Wait
but
a
for
second.
TOP, their whole gimmick was the 20-minute Baron. Why did we not see this coming?
Yeah, especially in this last game. Remember that the Nocturne Lulu composition, because if we're going straight in towards the comp, because it's very relevant here, it's not that WE have a bad comp. It's that when you look across the aisle, it's gonna have problems if the enemy team plays perfectly. When you're giving me that eyes, I see you. I'm gonna come around your side. I'm just giving WE an identity because they're Lulu Nocturne, fabulous, right? Bottom lane, Alistar, sick. Let's get that rolling. It's not going to happen because XX has been performing quite well recently solo, and you can see him rolling around 2v2 Graves. I see the champions, but if I see Graves and Aurelian Sol, the problem was you move in mid lane, you get control, you go bottom lane, you chip down tower,
Yep.
and Clement made a point about it. A level behind on Nocturne just because of the experience advantage that XX was accruing for himself. So how do you even get to that level if you're Nocturne Lulu, if you're getting completely pushed in?
To me, it's frankly a bad read on the meta. Now, we had some discussions earlier, moving into a brand new stadium. We saw this from OMG, some of the growing pains, not quite being settled in. So maybe that impacts scrim time, something like that. But it's not a bad read on the meta in terms of champions from Team WE. This was very clearly that TOP had a clear game plan, like you're saying. Disrupt Condi. It was 2 games in a row that you had delayed invade, that they prioritized the jungle mid matchup, and they made sure that Condi fell behind in experience. So now, kid gloves are off. Team WE have blown up their roster. They've put it back together. They've changed out their coaching staff, and they are still playing the exact same compositions and style for the last 3 splits. They are known as a binary one-style team, and as the meta shifts away from them, they're basically at the whimsy of whatever Riot's balanced team wants to do because they're not changing Raz. So now I ask you, controversial statement, is Team WE actually a good team?
Well, good is relative.
To the patch, apparently.
If you're saying, if good to you is, will they make it back to Worlds in this state?
Yes.
No. But, because obviously we've seen what Spring Split looked for us.
You took the softest answer on a hard statement. It was like a soft...
To me, it's
no.
not that to me, it's not that hard if we're talking about current play because Worlds is 3 slots. So that's RNG, Invictus Gaming, EDG, and any other team like Rogue
Apparently
Warriors.
now TOP.
We'll get to that soon enough. And then we're talking about like Rogue
I'm trying
Warriors.
to
So there's
bait
a
you.
lot
You're
of
just not
competition.
taking it.
I ain't taking none of that. And I'm saying that there's a lot of competition in the LPL, and if WE wants to be able to get it, they have to work much harder. So you're right about the fact that it seems like communication is a big problem, but it's mostly the fact that they are looking towards their late in-game compositions.
Now,
I think Spring Split is something that they should look towards, because even though Condi wasn't there for Spring Split, remember, early game was dictated by CA.
did you just say for Team WE to look towards Spring Split?
They're last playing Spring
Oh,
Split.
okay.
Yeah,
I'm
so
like-
I'm saying,
come on.
I ain't saying look to the future, just immediately to
I
the
was about
past.
to kick you off the desk. It's fine. No, but now we need to focus in.
2019.
Yeah, look towards 2019 W. No, we're done with you, WE. We'll get to you tomorrow for your match of the week against Snake. Hopefully you show up better then, because there is a bit of a curse in the LPL that your very first opening series in an away arena, every team has lost it. We'll see if RNG are the only team to kick the trend.
And that's why my point about the Spring Split split is the fact that Xie's early game last split was strong.
Yep.
So as long as they look towards what was strong about it, play towards Xie.
And put him on Lulu every game, so he doesn't get to do anything.
Zoe. So, I would say just empower Xie. Get to a point where Condi's confident. And by the way, Condi's first game was excellent. It's just unfortunate that he went towards, like, the Lee Sin wasn't, we're talking about Lee Sin. The pick is fine. It's just being able to execute on the risky early game compositions that you had, and execution wasn't there for them.
Yeah, TOP frankly just played it better. So now we get to turn our eyes on TOP. We want to celebrate them a little bit. MVP, man of the match, does go to Chocho on that Tristana play. Reckless, if you're watching this, this is all you need. We have the answer, the light at the end of the tunnel. You don't need to play Janna. You can play the Tristana as long as you do it with a very specific build.
Yeah, the Razors, my friend. That one-item power spike. It was great to see because he got a lot of attention coming from Aurelion Sol and Graves. And so the early push that he had protected, the moment he got that first item, he was jumping. He was hopping. He was able to get the first kill on towards Imp. And then he kept pushing forward, even when the first tower went down. I love the fact that he was able to just constantly move forward because remember, he could just lie in wait for the first crit to come across and then get the burst with his E and ultimate abilities.
And that's the other aspect of it, is the towers falling down, because with Stormrazor allowing Tristana to have an initial item power spike, she also still has incredible siege potential, and with the changes to Baron and how important Rift Herald and Baron still are, and her ability to siege so quickly, I think Tristana could fit perfect in this meta.
Yeah, Tristana is a good one, Caitlyn's a good one, and I'm just saying that if you ever want to build a crit 80 carry, that's really the lifeline that you have. There is no such thing as a strong crit item for crit 80 carries right now if you want to have an early game that isn't the Razor's item. So that's where you start off for a lot of them.
Okay, again, congratulations to TOP. Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings because we just have finished our day 5 and we need to prepare for day 6. And so far, Rogue Warriors, Invictus Gaming sitting fat and happy on the top of West and East.
Right now, the Western Conference looks really hectic. The fact that TOP, Snake, OMG, all strapping it out, it's going to take some time before things get even because we're expecting FPX and WE to at least pick up a win at this point.
And fact of the matter is that Edward Gaming and Royal Never Give Up have still yet to play games. You can see them sitting down there in 5th. They will be playing tomorrow as well as Team WE again. A reminder, our match of the week is Team WE versus Snake Esports. And after all of the crazy shenanigans that we've seen from Snake Esports, I'm really heavily betting on Snake right now.
It's getting insane because remember, we picked the match of the week at the very beginning of the week. We didn't expect what Snake would be dishing out. So the last set you watched, if you didn't get to see it, Snake put out some Gouda and then realized, hey, we know what? We've mastered the meta. So it's going to be WE that looks like they're living in the past versus Snake that's feeling quite comfortable.
They're definitely playing 4D chess. That said, we've also got some sick matchups. Edward Gaming versus Fun plus Phoenix. That's Cool's team versus the first time we're going to see EDG take the stage. And then RNG and their Beijing arena for what will soon become the Beijing battle because JD Gaming are also going to be a Beijing-based team by the end of this year.
Yeah, so it's awesome to see. The best thing about this is that even though it's a packed day, if you want to look at the top 2 teams in the LPL of the spring split, EDG and RNG, that's when you get to see them play for the first time.
And of course, the lighter schedule because of the age of games. Now, that said, need to remind everyone that we will be starting early again on Saturdays and Sundays for the LPL. We start 3 hours early. That's 11 p.m. for our North American viewers and 8 a.m. for our European viewers, which, by the way, good morning and good evening, guys. Now, that said, we also got to cover our Rift Rivals because we've got some good links for you if you want to buy tickets. Now, the key here is exactly what that link is.
It's the first test.
You must put in the http://www. I know, I sound like the most outdated librarian. There's an S in there as well. I already messed it up. I'm gated away from the tickets. But you must put the link in exactly like that, and there is an English way to go and buy tickets if you want to see the Rift Rivals representatives.
Yeah, so please get that going for yourself. Remember, you walk into immigration, they'll ask if you did this exact same thing.
This is how they card you on it.
Yep, and that's all you need to know.
We must see your passport and the link.
That's all you need to know. So as long as you got that going for yourself, you can take the trip to Dahlia and watch Rift Rivals happen, and for us to take the second trophy.
Exactly. We've got to maintain our honor, but that said, that's going to be all for us tonight. So thank you to our production, our casters, to my lovely analyst, Raz. Good evening, good morning. I don't know what time it is. Good night.